Hello everyone, this is the thejonnymar, and welcome to the latest in my Johnny Poorly Plays series. So on Patreon I asked in a poll what I should play next in this particular series, and the winner was a classic arcade game. And I figured you can't get much more classic when it comes to arcade games than the original Pac-Man game. This was actually the first video game I ever played. I played it back at a restaurant near where I lived, on an arcade machine, and I played it a few years before we got an NES or a Game Boy. And so this is, of course, the original Pellet Muncher, and we're going to be playing as Pac-Man, and we're going to have to look out for these named ghosts, Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde, which is the pokey one. We're going to try to collect as many points as possible on this same maze over and over again. So this is the version from the Namco Museum, which is available on the Nintendo Switch. So I haven't played Pac-Man that much over the years. In fact, I haven't played it in quite a while. The last time I played it was on the NES Classic, so I played the NES version. I don't know the strategies for the optimal routing for collecting the pellets or anything like that, so we're just going to wing it here. I do know the general rules of the game, though. Collect the pellets and die, because I'm bad at this game. And then those flashing pellets are, of course, power pellets or something of the sort, that once you eat them, you are able to actually eat the ghosts that are chasing after you. So the goal is to clear out all of the pellets on the screen. If you eat multiple ghosts in a row, you get more points. And then depending on the points that you gather, sometimes a fruit will appear, which also gives you extra points. And the goal is to get as many points as you possibly can, going through this same maze over and over again. I believe there's 256 versions of this maze. My goal for this playthrough is actually just to top 10,000 points. That's how many points you need, as we're going to go over the pellets here. Got him. To get an extra Pac-Man. So I want to get through at least 2 levels to get the little first cutscene, and then get about 10,000 points, and I'll consider that to be a success. Anything beyond that is gravy at this point. So we'll see what we can do. We're on the second maze here, doing alright, I suppose, as we get killed for a second time, with the iconic little Pac-Man death there. And interestingly, Pac-Man is one of the first games my daughter played as well. Now, the first game she ever played was Super Mario Land on the Game Boy, and we played that together on my Game Boy player via my GameCube. And then we found a arcade 1-up console of this in Walmart, and she was intrigued by it, so she wanted to play it, so we played it together as well. And she's played some other games as well with me, co-op, games like Yoshi's Story and... oh man, okay. We're doing okay here. We got this. I'm totally going to get there. And clear the second level. And we're almost at 10,000 points. So we played some Turtles games, for example, co-op. And a few other games as well. Go Big Pac-Man. And so she knows who Pac-Man is. And she likes playing the game, although she gets frustrated with it pretty quickly because she doesn't have the greatest dexterity, being, you know, around 5 years old. So she needs to learn kind of how to manipulate the controller. And the best way to do that... oh, come on. Well, we did not reach 10,000 points. And apparently I'm not connected to the ranking server. Not that I'm very proud of this score. But we're going to do it anyway. And so as she gets older, I'm sure she will do better at video games. I believe the first time I played this game, I was the same age as her, or around the same age. I think I was like 5 or 6. Like I said, there was a restaurant near us where I lived that had this as well as a few other games. I believe it had Space Invaders 2. And then after that, in terms of arcade games, I would play at the Pizza Hut in the town near us. And then they had games like WrestleFest as well as Street Fighter 2. So those were other arcade games that I played when I was a kid. And then once I got into console gaming with the NES and the Game Boy, well, then I stopped really playing arcade games. I would still occasionally go to an arcade when they existed back in the day, and play games like... oh wow, why did I go through that ghost? interesting. Play games like Street Fighter still, Mortal Kombat was a big one for me as well. I'm a huge Scorpion fan. And, oh man, I almost got hit there. I kind of want that cherry, but I know it's going to be hard to get to. We might just go for the pellets and finish off this level to get to level 2 as quickly as possible. And I played a few light gun games as well, and a few other games in the arcade, like Virtua Fighter. Interestingly, most of the games I played in the arcade, at least as I got older, were fighting games, but I'm not a huge fighting game player, as I've demonstrated in my past video on this series related to Street Fighter 2. I'm okay at fighting games, but I'm not the greatest player. So what are your experiences in playing arcade games? Did you play them when you were younger? Were they some of your first games you played? Did you ever play arcade games, or did you play mostly console or PC games? And what about Pac-Man specifically? Was that a game you ever played? Did you enjoy it? It does get pretty repetitive. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of this game, but it certainly has historical significance, which again is a reason why I still come back and play it occasionally. And of course, it was interesting because I believe it was one of those games that Atari released as part of their, what was it named, Tengen or something like that. They had a secondary label that they were releasing kind of pirated, almost third-party games that weren't licensed by Nintendo back in the early 90s. And I think they released a copy of Pac-Man for the system as an unauthorized third-party game before Nintendo actually released an official version years later. So I think that was one of the reasons why Nintendo and Namco for a while were actually on bad terms. At least that's what I believe I've read. And it took a while for them to kind of get back on, oh man, I'm really surprised that that didn't kill me. I thought I would have got killed by that ghost there. It took a while for them to get back on good terms. I believe the late 90s. Or even maybe the mid-90s. But they did get back there because, of course, Nintendo is a console powerhouse still to this day. And we got to 10,000 points. Sweet. But of course they owned, much more of the market share back then. They were the dominant console pretty much in the late 80s and early 90s. Really until the second generation when the Genesis, at least in the United States, started to take hold and gave Nintendo a little bit of a run for its money. So we're finishing up here. Did I get that? Sweet. Let's see if we can do one more level here. The ghosts are starting to get pretty fast, so I'm not sure how far I'm going to make it. I've never actually watched someone do well at this game, so I would imagine, though, as you get higher and higher, you'll notice that the power pellets are lasting shorter and shorter, and the ghosts are going faster and faster. So as the difficulty goes up, I'm sure I would not do very well. Because every once in a while, I do get messed up with the controls and end up pushing the wrong direction on the control pad. I'm not using a joystick. I'm not sure if a joystick, see, as you can see, is necessary to play this game, or even play it well. Oh man. Well, that is it though. Thank you for watching, viewers. I hope you enjoyed this attempt at playing a classic arcade game poorly, and I'll see you all in my next video. What will I play next? We'll find out soon. So long. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and leave a comment below. Please also subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. See you next time.